The silver spacecraft hummed softly as it descended through Earth's atmosphere, its sleek design cutting through clouds like a knife. Inside, Hana Kim adjusted her research equipment, her fingers trembling with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She was the youngest researcher ever selected for an interspecies diplomatic mission, and today marked her first direct contact with humans. The research facility stood against the backdrop of a quiet suburban landscape, surrounded by neatly trimmed trees and modern glass buildings. As the spacecraft's landing gear touched the ground, Hana took a deep breath. Her species had been observing humans for decades, but direct contact was always complicated. David Park waited outside, dressed in a simple white lab coat that contrasted sharply with the facility's steel-gray exterior. He was a reproductive biology researcher in his mid-30s, known for his groundbreaking work in genetic studies. His calm demeanor seemed almost too relaxed for the momentous occasion. When the spacecraft's door opened, Hana emerged. Her skin was a soft silvery blue, with subtle iridescent patterns that shifted slightly in the sunlight. Her eyes were large and almond-shaped, containing multiple pupils that adjusted rapidly to the changing light. To David, she looked both alien and strangely beautiful. "Welcome to Earth," David said, extending his hand in a traditional human greeting. Hana hesitated. Physical contact was not a practice in her culture. Interspecies communication typically happened through carefully controlled electromagnetic signals. But she had studied human customs extensively and understood the importance of this gesture. Her hand, with its 4 long fingers in translucent skin, met David's warm palm. The sensation was unexpected, a mix of temperature, texture, and something she couldn't quite describe. It was neither comfortable nor uncomfortable, just profoundly different. "Thank you," she responded, her translator device converting her native language into perfect English. "I am here to understand human reproductive processes." David smiled, a gesture that Hana had learned indicated positive emotion, but still found challenging to interpret completely. "Shall we begin the tour?" The facility was a marvel of human engineering. Clean rooms with advanced technological equipment lined the corridors. Hana's multiple eyes captured every detail: the way humans organized their research spaces, the precision of their instruments, the complex network of computers and monitoring systems. As they walked, David explained the basics of human reproduction. Hana listened carefully, her brain processing information at incredible speeds. She found human reproduction fascinatingly inefficient compared to her species' precise genetic manipulation techniques. Humans reproduce through a combination of emotional connection and biological processes, David explained. It's not just about genetic transfer, but about creating emotional bonds. Hana's translator struggled momentarily with the concept. Emotional bonds in reproduction? Her species saw reproduction as a purely scientific process, carefully controlled and managed in sterile laboratory environments. Their first stop was a genetics laboratory. Rows of microscopes, DNA sequencing machines, and complex computer systems filled the room. Hana's fingers moved across holographic displays, analyzing data faster than any human could comprehend. "Your technology is interesting," she commented, her voice a soft melodic tone that seemed to hover between speaking and singing. But also surprisingly primitive. David didn't take offense. He had been briefed extensively about alien communication styles and understood that what seemed like criticism was often just objective observation. A young research assistant entered the room, carrying a tray of coffee and water. She looked surprised to see an alien standing casually in their research facility. Hana noticed the human's rapid change in facial expressions: surprise, curiosity, a hint of fear, and then professional composure. "Would you like something to drink?" the assistant asked, her voice slightly shaky. Hana tilted her head, a gesture she had practiced to appear more approachable. Water would be acceptable. As the day progressed, Hana collected initial data, asked hundreds of questions, and began to form her first impressions of human reproductive biology. Each observation challenged her previous understanding. Humans were complex. Their reproduction wasn't just a biological function, but an intricate dance of emotions, choices, and unpredictable variables, something her highly structured species found both fascinating and slightly chaotic. By evening, as the facility's lights dimmed and researchers prepared to leave, Hana knew her mission had only just begun. The real understanding of human reproduction was going to be a journey far more complex than any scientific report could capture. The conference room buzzed with nervous energy as David prepared to present the intricate details of human reproductive biology to Hana. Charts, diagrams, and complex biological models surrounded them, each telling a small piece of humanity's most fundamental process. Reproduction for humans is more than just genetic transfer, David began, his fingers sliding across a holographic display. It's a complex interaction of biology, emotion, and personal choice. Hana's multiple pupils dilated, capturing every minute detail. Her species reproduced through precise genetic engineering in controlled laboratory environments. The idea of voluntary emotion-driven reproduction seemed almost chaotic to her. David showed her the first diagram, human chromosome structures. Unlike her species' perfectly symmetrical genetic codes, human DNA looked messy, with unexpected variations and genetic mutations. Each deviation told a story of adaptation and survival. We call this genetic diversity, David explained. Each human is unique, carrying genetic information from two parents. Hana's translator struggled to convert the emotional nuances of his explanation. Her species saw genetic variation as a potential weakness. Humans saw it as strength. A video began playing, showing the complex process of human fertilization. The microscopic dance of sperm and egg was nothing like the clinical genetic transfers of her civilization. It was messy, unpredictable, almost romantic. Humans typically reproduce through sexual intercourse, David continued, his professional tone slightly awkward. It's not just a biological process, but an intimate emotional experience. The concept confused Hana. Intimate? Emotional? These were not scientific terms in her understanding. Reproduction was a function, not an experience. She watched recordings of human couples, their interactions, their connections. Some chose to have children, others didn't. Some used medical technologies to assist reproduction, while others followed traditional methods. The variety was overwhelming. What determines mate selection? Hana asked, her silvery blue fingers tracing potential genetic connection lines. David smiled. It's complicated. Sometimes physical attraction, sometimes emotional compatibility, sometimes cultural or social expectations. A series of biological diagrams showed hormone interactions during human reproduction. Oxytocin, testosterone, estrogen, chemical signals that seemed to dance between scientific precision and emotional chaos. Humans can reproduce through artificial methods too, David explained, showing images of in vitro fertilization and surrogacy. We have multiple ways to create life. Hana's research notes filled rapidly. Each observation challenged her previous understanding. Humans didn't just create life. They celebrated it, struggled with it, made complex personal choices around it. The presentation moved to human pregnancy. 9 months of biological transformation, physical changes, hormonal shifts. A human body literally rebuilding itself to support another life. The process looked painful, dangerous, and incredibly resilient. Pregnancy is not just a biological state, David said. It's a profound personal journey. Videos showed pregnant women, their changing bodies, their emotional experiences, the support of their partners. Some looked excited, some nervous, some overwhelmed. Each experience was unique. Hana's multiple eyes processed information differently from human eyes. She saw genetic patterns, hormonal interactions, biological processes. But slowly she was learning to see beyond pure science. A section about human childbirth followed. The physical intensity, the medical complexities, the emotional depth. It was unlike anything in her species-controlled reproduction methods. Humans risked their own bodies to bring new life into the world. Why would a species develop such a complex, potentially dangerous reproductive process? Hannah wondered aloud. David chuckled. Because life is more than survival, it's about connection, love, continuation of our species. The day's presentation concluded, leaving Hannah with more questions than answers. Human reproduction wasn't just a biological function. It was a complex, emotional, deeply personal journey that defied her species' clinical understanding. As evening approached and research lights dimmed, Hannah realized her mission was becoming something more than a scientific study. She was discovering the profound complexity of human existence, one biological process at a time. Her preliminary report would shock her research team. Humans were not just another species to be studied. They were a remarkable, unpredictable, wonderfully complex form of life. The medical simulation room hummed with soft electronic sounds, its white walls reflecting a sterile, clinical environment. Hannah stood motionless, her silvery blue skin slightly changing color as different emotions flickered through her complex neural system. On the massive screen, a human childbirth simulation played. It was raw, unfiltered, and nothing like the controlled, genetic transfers of her species. A woman lay on a hospital bed, her face contorted with pain, her partner holding her hand with an intensity that seemed almost impossible to comprehend. David watched Hannah's reaction carefully. Her multiple pupils dilated and contracted, capturing every microscopic detail of the human birthing process. Sweat, tears, physical strain. These were alien concepts to her species. The video showed the moment of birth. A tiny human emerged, wet and fragile, making a sound that seemed to vibrate through the entire room. The mother's exhausted smile, the partner's tears, the infant's first cry. It was a symphony of biological complexity that defied scientific explanation. "This is reproduction?" Hannah whispered, her translator rendering her words in perfect, emotionless English. "This is life," David responded softly. The simulation continued. The infant, completely dependent, required constant care. Feeding, cleaning, protecting. Human parents invested tremendous emotional and physical energy into a being that contributed nothing immediately to survival. Hannah's research notes began filling rapidly. Her species viewed offspring as potential, future contributors to society. Humans seemed to love their children unconditionally, regardless of their immediate utility. Another simulation showed different stages of human parental care. A father changing a diaper, looking tired but content. A mother singing a lullaby, her touch gentle and protective. Parents sacrificing sleep, personal comfort, career opportunities, all for a small, helpless human. Your species invests massive resources into individual offspring, Hannah observed. It seems inefficient. David chuckled. Efficiency isn't always the most important thing. The medical team allowed Hannah to observe actual birthing scenarios. Each was unique, some smooth, some complicated, some requiring medical interventions. The human body's ability to create and sustain life seemed both fragile and incredibly powerful. One particular video caught her attention. A premature baby, smaller than her hand, fighting for survival. Medical technology working alongside human determination. Parents watching, hoping, their emotional energy almost visible. Hannah's understanding of reproduction began to shift. This wasn't just a biological process. It was a complex emotional journey of connection, sacrifice, and love. She watched mothers recovering from cesarean sections, their bodies healing while caring for newborns, fathers supporting their partners, providing emotional and physical assistance, extended families gathering, celebrating new life. The medical simulations revealed something profound. Human reproduction wasn't about genetic perfection or efficient population management. It was about creating connections, continuing a species through love and commitment. Multiple scenarios played out: natural births, cesarean sections, surrogate pregnancies, adoptions. Each method showed the same core emotion, a deep, inexplicable desire to nurture and protect new life. Your species accepts multiple paths to parenthood, Hana noted. Biological, medical, emotional, all equally valid. David nodded. Because family isn't about biological connection, it's about love. The simulation room fell silent. Hana's body temperature slightly changed, a sign of deep processing and emotional recalibration. Her species had always viewed reproduction as a clinical, controlled process. Humans saw it as a beautiful, unpredictable journey. Tears fascinated her. In one video, a father wept while holding his newborn. In another, a mother smiled through exhaustion. These emotional expressions were completely foreign to her species. As the day concluded, Hana realized her mission had transformed. She wasn't just studying human reproduction. She was discovering the profound complexity of human emotional existence. Her preliminary notes would shock her research team. Humans were not just another species to be scientifically categorized. They were a remarkable, wonderfully complex form of life that defied traditional scientific understanding. The medical simulation room's lights dimmed, leaving Hana surrounded by echoes of human vulnerability, strength, and unconditional love. The research conference room felt unusually tense. Hana stood before her alien research team, her silvery blue skin shifting colors with nervous energy. Holographic displays surrounded her, filled with complex human reproductive data. Jun Lee, the senior research director, looked skeptical. His sharp eyes scanned the presentation, searching for flaws in Hana's extensive research. Human reproduction defies our traditional understanding of biological propagation, Hana began. Her translator converted her native language into precise clinical English. The holographic displays showed intricate human reproductive processes, genetic variations, emotional bonding, voluntary reproductive choices. Each slide challenged everything the alien research team believed about biological continuation. June interrupted. Voluntary reproduction? Emotional connections during genetic transfer? This sounds impossible. Hana remained calm. She understood her report would create significant controversy among her species. Humans were not just another biological system to be studied. They were a complex, emotional civilization that defied scientific categorization. Her first piece of evidence showed human adoption processes. Beings choosing to raise offspring not genetically connected to them. The concept was revolutionary to her species, who saw genetic purity as the primary requirement for population continuation. Humans create family through choice, not just biological connection, Hana explained. The research team looked uncomfortable. Their species used precise genetic engineering to produce offspring. Emotional selection was considered primitive and inefficient. Another holographic display showed human medical reproductive technologies, fertility treatments, genetic screenings, surrogate pregnancies. Each method demonstrated human adaptability and technological innovation. June's fingers moved across the data, analyzing every microscopic detail. Their reproductive inefficiency is remarkable, he muttered. Hana showed videos of human childbirth. The physical intensity, the emotional depth, the complex medical processes. Each recording challenged their understanding of biological propagation. A video of a premature baby's survival journey particularly stunned the research team. Medical technology combined with human emotional determination created miracles their species couldn't comprehend. They invest tremendous resources into individual offspring survival, Hana noted. Not for immediate societal benefit, but for emotional connection. The research team whispered among themselves. Some looked fascinated, others appeared disgusted. Human reproduction seemed chaotic, unpredictable, almost illogical. Genetic diversity data shocked them most. Unlike their species' carefully controlled genetic transfers, humans celebrated biological differences. Each genetic variation told a unique story of adaptation and survival. Their reproductive process is a journey, not just a biological function. Hana continued. She presented data about human emotional bonding during reproduction. Hormone interactions, psychological connections, the complex dance between partners. It was nothing like their clinical genetic transfers. June's expression gradually changed from skepticism to fascination. They create life through connection? Hana nodded. Emotional investment is as important as biological processes for humans. The presentation included multiple reproductive scenarios: traditional births, medical interventions, same-sex parenting, single-parent households. Each demonstrated human adaptability and emotional resilience. One section particularly intrigued the research team: human psychological preparation for parenthood, classes, medical consultations, emotional support systems. Humans didn't just create life, they prepared comprehensively for it. Their approach is holistic, Hana explained. Reproduction is a complex social, emotional, and biological process. As the presentation concluded, the research team sat in stunned silence. Hana had effectively challenged their entire understanding of biological propagation. June finally spoke. Your research suggests humans are more than just another species. They are a complex civilization with remarkable reproductive strategies. Hana's skin shifted to a soft, pleased blue. Her mission was more than a scientific study. She had discovered the profound complexity of human existence. The conference room remained quiet, filled with the weight of unexpected revelations. Humans had just become far more interesting to her alien civilization. The final day of Hana's mission arrived with unexpected emotional weight. Her research had transformed from a clinical study to a profound journey of understanding human complexity. David waited in the facility's main conference room, a small package in his hands. Around them, researchers from both human and alien teams prepared the final diplomatic documentation. Hana's report would change interspecies relations forever. Her discoveries about human reproduction went far beyond biological processes. She had uncovered the intricate emotional landscape that defined human existence. Your research will revolutionize our understanding, Junli told her. His previous skepticism had transformed into genuine scientific excitement. The diplomatic teams gathered, a mix of human scientists and alien researchers. Holographic displays showed Hana's comprehensive study, a document that challenged everything known about biological reproduction. David stepped forward, holding the small package. A memory for you, he said softly. Inside was a photograph. A family. Mother, father, child, smiling together. Simple, yet profoundly complex. Hana's multiple pupils studied every detail. The emotional connection was almost visible, a tangible energy connecting three different individuals. Her translator struggled to convert the depth of this single image. Humans didn't just create life. They celebrated it, nurtured it, transformed themselves through it. The research presentation began. Hana explained how human reproduction was a journey of love, sacrifice, and incredible biological adaptation. Each slide revealed layers of complexity her species had never imagined. Genetic diversity wasn't a weakness as her civilization believed. It was strength. Human reproduction celebrated individual differences, creating a rich, complex biological tapestry. Humans create life through connection, she explained. Not just biological transfer, but emotional investment. The alien research team listened carefully. Decades of scientific understanding were being rewritten by this young researcher's discoveries. Reproductive. Videos played. Childbirth, parental care, medical interventions. Each moment demonstrated human resilience. The ability to create life wasn't just a biological function. It was an art form, a complex dance of emotion and biology. Junli watched, carefully. His previous clinical approach had transformed. Humans were no longer just another species to be studied. They were a civilization of remarkable emotional depth. David stood beside Hana, offering silent support. Their professional relationship had become something more, a bridge between two different civilizations. The final section of her presentation focused on human emotional adaptation. How humans prepared for parenthood, supported each other, created families beyond biological connections. Adoption videos showed children finding love in families not connected by genetic material. Same-sex couples creating families. Single parents, raising children with incredible determination. Reproduction for humans is about continuation, Hannah explained. Not just of genetic material, but of emotional connections, cultural knowledge, love. The room fell silent. Even the most skeptical researchers recognized the profound nature of her research. As the presentation concluded, something remarkable happened. The alien research team's perspective had fundamentally changed. Humans were no longer a species to be clinically analyzed. They were a civilization of incredible emotional complexity. David handed Hannah the family photograph again. "So, you'll remember us," he said. Her silvery blue skin shifted colors, a sign of deep emotional processing. She realized humanity's greatest strength was not in their technology or physical capabilities, but in their capacity to love unconditionally. The diplomatic teams prepared final documentation. Hannah's research would reshape interspecies understanding. Reproduction was not just a biological process. It was a journey of love, sacrifice, and incredible human potential. As her spacecraft prepared for departure, Hannah looked back at the research facility. She was no longer just a researcher. She was a bridge between two civilizations, carrying a profound understanding of what it means to create and nurture life. The photograph of the human family remained with her, a reminder that love transcends biological, cultural, and even planetary boundaries.